Hello everybody, this is Justin with the Amalgatorium. I'm going to be showing you a tutorial on color warp effect that you can get in the Laforge Suite by Production Crates Studios. It's going to be this little guy here. Comes with a package with a bunch of different effects, all of which I'm sure have their utility and such, but for me I like to make visual VJ loops and stuff like that, so it's this one it calls to me. So what I've got here is I've got a black solid with a grid attached to it. By itself, it creates these white lines that you can't really see, so I added a black solid underneath. And I have an adjustment layer on top, and this is what the effect looks like by default. And you can change these effects to get different you can change these parameters to get different visual effects, and by default it automatically will animate. You can change those parameters as well to your tastes. So what we're going to show here is in the utility you can hit custom colors, and what that does is it uses the colors beneath it. So it's using the black solid and the grid here to give us this by default pretty wild scene. So let's change some of the parameters and see what's actually happening. So if we go down to 0, you will of course see that there is nothing going on. Imagine that. So we'll bump that up to 5, and you get a lot of unique action going on. Just a subtle manipulation is just 2, and you can change these parameters here to make that even more wild, even with the low strength. And the scale increases I guess the iterations of what's going on. I don't know how to describe it, but once you tinker with it, slide it up and down, you'll see what that looks like. So if we take the scale down way low, even with a very complex scene or complex parameters otherwise, it's going to show some different stuff. And bring it up, and you can just tinker with these settings, really is the best thing to do. But what I'm going to show you here is how to get a perfect loop. And I'm using 60 frames per second, and if you go to frame 607, not 608, by the way, you can use control and left or right on the arrow keys to move one frame by one frame. And so we can go ahead and select all these, Control Shift D, and delete the tails. So now we've got this one loop. You can combine them by going in and pre-composing. I'm going to Control Z and just show you something that I usually use here. When you hit pre-compose, this is not automatically checked. This adjusts composition duration to the time span of the selected layers. And just check that, and this video clip or the pre-comp will form at the same length as the others. Otherwise, it'll be the whole length of your composition. You'll just have a whole bunch of black at the end here. I like to have a larger composition just to manipulate. Let's drag that over here and drag that. Hold Shift and it'll attach to the slider here. Yeah, so this frame and this frame this is one frame, that's the other frame. Those are one off from each other. So if we go ahead and Control D, and then we go and put this at the end of that, and you'll see that it is a perfect loop there. It's a useful function if that's what you're going for. You can have anything below this. We're going to Control Z to undo these pre-comps, and we'll just we'll take something else. This was made with the program as well, or with the plugin, and I'm just going to go ahead and delete those, and that shows you with this video clip what that looks like. Great part is if the video you're using is a loop and then you apply this effect and make sure it is 607 frames, then you will get a perfect loop. This particular one is not a perfect loop, but that's fine. It's good for an example. Another cool thing, so we have this going on, and if we wanted to add in a different color, we can go ahead and create a shape layer. We're going to go ahead and, I guess it really doesn't matter what shape, but we're just going to build a little circle here. And what color do we want it to add? Oh, yellow. And right now the shape layer is on top of the adjustment layer, so it's not being affected. But what I want to do is I'm going to animate this to come into view. So the size, we're going to take it down to 0 so it disappears. And we'll go to 10 seconds and increase the size to actually cover the whole comp. There we go, that's big enough. Okay, so we'll go to 10 and we'll keyframe that big size, and then we'll go back to the beginning and bring it down to 0. And that circle comes in and fills the whole screen. So what happens when we put it below the adjustment layer? Is that right? Yeah. And so as you see, that yellow will start filling in and covering the scene there. You can also go ahead and add a gradient. No, not a gradient stroke. Who does gradient stroke? I'm sure it's fun, but gradient fill. And with the gradient fill, edit the gradient, and we'll just make something silly. Okay. Now what we need to do is we need to destroy the fill, and let's take a look at the circle. Okay, that looks silly. So this, let's go ahead, edit gradient. No, that's the colors we want. End point. Okay. And then start point. Sure. That's fun. Let's go back to the adjustment layer, and we'll just play that. And you see how that comes through and fills in the whole scene, and eventually that will fill the whole scene, and that's kind of fun. But you can play with all these different things. Yeah, and so that was that, and I'll show you another fun thing you can use, kind of like a transition. Open project, recent. Transition, nope, don't need to save it. This is a video that I made. We're going to go ahead and go into here. So these are some clips that I made before, and I wanted to give them a little transition, so we'll go ahead and I'll show you what I've done. And it just do a basic opacity fade. So where you want them to loop, you see how they're on top of one another and they overlap, or not where you want them to loop, where you want them to transition. You have a keyframe that's 100% here, and then as you see there, it goes down to 0%, and it gives it normally doesn't have that. Let's go ahead and show it without that. Okay, so this is what it looks like normally. It's fading between those two clips, that one to that one. Not a too drastic of a color change, but some angular change. Like one is like squarey and the other one is angled, more curvy. And with the adjustment layer, I've already animated the strength. So we'll go ahead and jump in here. I have 3 keyframes. One is 0 strength, and then I have this maximum strength I want it to go to. I went to 72 or 73, and then back to 0. And that gives this little. It might be fun to add a sound effect or utilize this transition when the music is doing a fun little swoopy, like. But yeah, that's just a basic transition with this tool. And we talked about the other element. Let's go ahead and we'll keep the adjustment layer. Nah, we'll just do a new thing. We're going to do a solid. Nope, we're not going to do a solid. We're going to do a shape layer. So we're going to do a shape layer. We're going to get our effector in here with the adjustment layer. Go to the effect, and we're going to drop that effect on here. There it is. We are going to utility, and we're going to have that go to custom colors, and there's nothing there. So what we're going to do is turn off the shape layer, or sorry, turn off the adjustment layer and see what we can spot here. And I'm just going to make a rectangle, and it's just going to be a white rectangle that's going to then be repeated. So we're going to add a repeater, and we're going to transform that repeater. It's going to position. Why is that weird? Oh, it's because I already moved it. Okay. Transform repeater. There it is. Okay, so right now it's moving over by 100 each. We can do that and then increase so we have the full amount there. It's hard to see, so let's go ahead and bring a black solid in to go underneath it. And do the adjustment layer and edit this effect down to 0. And we can go ahead and increase the strength just a little bit and get some fun wavy lines. You can increase it more for some other radical effects. Or you could, if you're looking for something really simple, let's go ahead, jump in here. We're going to delete the repeater. We're going to grab our rectangle and just bring it to the center and go back to the adjustment layer and increase the strength. And now you have a wiggly line. But if we want it faster, we can go ahead and do this. Create a faster wiggly line. We can make the line more abstract and not really a line anymore. You can play with just all sorts of stuff. But yeah, those are a few things I wanted to share. I do thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please, of course, I have to say that incorrectly. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye bye.